The bell above the Crossroads diner door chimed as Emma Martinez refilled the sugar containers for the third time that morning. Thursdays were usually calm, but today felt different. The air was heavy, like the quiet before a lightning strike. She had worked at the Crossroads for 3 years, long enough to know the regulars and the riders who were just passing by. The diner sat where Route 66 met County Road 12, a perfect stop for motorcycle clubs traveling across the Southwest. This morning, 3 men sat in booth 9, the corner booth, that could see both entrances clearly. They had arrived separately over the last hour. Their leather vests had no patches, which was the first warning sign. In the biker world, showing up without colors was like going to a gunfight wearing a mask. Emma had served them once, and they barely touched their food. They spent more time watching the parking lot than eating. The youngest one, maybe 25, had nervous eyes and kept checking his phone. The older man, built like a linebacker with a scorpion tattoo on his neck, never stopped staring at the main door. The third man, lean with a gray beard, tapped his fork on the plate in a steady, creepy beat. "Tix needs a warm-up," Jake the cook shouted, pulling Emma back to reality. She grabbed the coffee pot and walked across the diner. Her path took her close to booth 9. That's when she heard it. "The moment he orders black coffee, no sugar, we move," the scorpion neck man whispered. "That's the signal. Colt always orders the same thing. The second he says it, we finish this." Emma's hand froze. Black coffee, no sugar. She knew exactly who they meant. Colt Reaper Daniels, president of the Iron Wolves Motorcycle Club, stopped at the Crossroads every Thursday at 9:30. Always on time. Always sat at the counter, always ordered black coffee with 2 eggs over easy, always left a $20 tip. He was polite, quiet, and one of the most feared men in 3 counties if the rumors were true. The rumble of motorcycles shook the diner's windows. Emma looked outside and saw 5 bikes pulling in, their jackets showing. The Iron Wolves colors, a snarling wolf's head over crossed bones. The man in front, around 50 with silver in his beard and sharp eyes, was clearly the president. Colt Daniels carried himself like a man who had survived more than most people could imagine. 4 club members followed him inside, taking positions near the entrances like they had done it 1,000 times. Colt walked to his usual seat at the counter, nodding to familiar customer and giving a casual salute to old Martha at the register. Emma glanced back at booth 9. All 3 men had gone stiff. The scorpion neckman's hand slid under his jacket. The young one stared at Colt without blinking. The graybeard's knuckles turned white as he gripped his mug. The moment he orders black coffee, no sugar. Her blood went cold. Colt settled into his stool with the comfort of a king on his throne. "Good morning, folks," he said warmly. Beautiful day for a ride. Customers smiled. This was part of Colt's charm. Emma watched in fear as Colt reached for his menu, though he never needed it. In the booth, the 3 men shifted, hands sliding toward their jackets. In 30 seconds, maybe less, Colt would give his usual order and seal his fate. Time slowed. Emma heard her own heartbeat. Every instinct told her to stay out of it, to pretend she heard nothing. But she couldn't. Maybe it was the way Colt helped Martha carry groceries last month. Maybe it was because she grew up in a town where people looked after each other. Or maybe she just couldn't stand by and watch someone die when she could stop it. Before she could talk herself out of it, she moved. She walked toward the counter with smooth steps, coffee pot in hand, a bright smile on her face. To everyone else, she looked like a waitress doing her job. "Morning, Colt," she said softly. "The usual today?" He looked up at her, and she felt the full intensity of his dark, sharp eyes. "You know it, Emma," he said, starting to speak. This was it. Any second now he would say the deadly words. Emma leaned in to pour coffee, her face close to his ear. It looked like normal customer service. "Don't talk," she whispered, her voice barely a breath. Colt's hand froze. He went completely still, every muscle alert. His eyes snapped to hers, searching her face. The whole diner seemed to stop breathing. Then Colt slowly lowered his hand and gave a tiny nod. "You know what?" he said calmly. "I think I'll just take the coffee for now. Let me look at the menu a minute." Across the room, the 3 men in booth 9 looked confused. Their signal hadn't come. The scorpion neck man didn't move his hand. The young one checked his phone again. The gray beard kept glancing at Colt. Without the phrase, their plan was falling apart. Colt lifted his cup and took a sip without ordering. It was smooth, controlled, and completely wrong for the killers who needed him to say one specific thing. Emma stepped back, legs shaking. She had done it. She had stopped a murder without anyone knowing. Except Colt knew. As she walked away, she felt his eyes on her full of questions. And in booth 9, Three dangerous men were realizing that their perfect plan had just collapsed. If you believe in using your instincts, noticing small details and speaking up when something feels wrong, then pause for a moment, like, comment, share, and subscribe to Bike Diaries. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from today, because this story shows that heroes come in all sizes, and sometimes the quietest voice has the biggest impact. Colt held his coffee cup like he was holding on to his sanity. His smile was calm, but his mind was racing. In his world, whispers from strangers meant either betrayal or salvation. "Everything good, boss?" His vice president, Ghost, asked quietly. His hand rested inside his jacket, ready. "Perfect," Colt said calmly, just appreciating the service here. But nothing was perfect. From the corner of his eye, he saw the men in booth 9 shifting. One checked his phone, one looked at the exit. "Ghost," Colt said softly. "The 3 men in booth 9, you see them?" Ghost glanced their way. "Yeah, same drinks for an hour. Ordered food they're not eating." Colt nodded. Men with a purpose, men who didn't belong. Emma came back, this time to a table near booth 9, close enough to hear them. Close enough to watch. She's been listening, Colt realized. She overheard something. The 3 men stood up suddenly, dropping cash on the table. They headed for the exit. But the scarred man scanned the diner one last time like he planned to return. Emma was clearing a table as they passed. Colt watched her closely and saw fear flash across her face. She recognized them, and she knew exactly what they were capable of. "Ghost," Colt whispered. "I want you to have a conversation with our waitress after closing. Find out what she knows." By midnight, the last customer left. Emma stood alone with the very men she wanted to avoid. Colt sat at the counter like a king in an empty kingdom. His men guarded the entrances. "Emma," his voice broke the silence. "Come sit with me." It wasn't a request. She walked toward him on shaky legs. Up close, she could see how sharp his eyes were watching her every move. "You look tired," he said gently. "Long night. Now tell me, why did you tell me not to talk?" Emma stared at her hands. She could lie, but lying wasn't an option. "I heard them," she whispered. "The men in booth 9. What did you hear?" "They were waiting for you to say something." "Something specific?" She looked up. "They said, 'The moment he orders black coffee, no sugar, we move.'" Colt's jaw tightened. Behind him, Ghost sucked in a sharp breath. "You're sure?" "Yes. Everyone knows your Thursday routine. You always order the same thing." Colt stayed silent for a long time. "Why warn me?" he finally asked. "Why not stay quiet and safe?" "Because they would have killed you," she said simply. "And maybe everyone else here. You don't even know me. I know you helped Martha with her groceries. I know you tipped the busboy $50 at Christmas because his mom was sick. I know enough." For the first time, Colt smiled a real smile. "You've got good instincts, Emma, but they could have gotten you killed." Her phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen, and her face turned white. With shaking hands, Emma showed Colt the message on her phone. "We know who you are. We know where you live. This isn't over." Colt changed instantly. He snapped his fingers, and his men moved like trained soldiers. "Ghost, we're taking her to the compound right now." Then he turned to Emma. "Pack a bag." "You're under my protection now. What's happening?" she asked. Colt smiled, cold and dangerous, like a predator who had just found his target. "Your new friends are about to learn why nobody threatens what's mine." 3 days later, Emma stood inside the main hall of the Iron Wolves compound. The past 72 hours had been a blur: safe houses, long drives, and the slow, painful understanding that her old life ended the moment she whispered, "Don't talk." "You look nervous," Ghost said quietly. "Wouldn't you be?" She replied. Colt walked in carrying maps. "Emma, we're ending this tomorrow night." She wasn't surprised. Men like Colt didn't hide from danger, they removed it. "What do you need me to do?" she asked. "Just be yourself," he said, spreading the maps across his desk. "Tomorrow night is the Demon's Run rally. 5,000 riders, perfect cover." Ghost leaned closer. "We leaked information that you'll be there under Colt's protection." "So I'm bait," Emma said flatly. "Bait with teeth," Colt said. "They won't resist, they're desperate. Their plan failed, they exposed themselves. Now they need to finish it." He pointed at the rally map. "We'll have men at every exit. They'll try to pull you away from the crowds, try to use you to draw me out. That's when we trap them." Colt pulled out a small device. "Transmitter, receiver, GPS tracker. You'll never be out of contact." "I won't lie," he said. "There's risk. But this is the only way to end it." Emma thought about the messages that kept finding her. She knew she couldn't stay hidden forever. What happens after? You saved my life, Colt said. In my world, that creates bonds that don't break. You'll always have my protection. But protection comes with responsibilities. The weight of his words settled over her. When do we start? She asked. Colt's smile was sharp as steel. Tomorrow night. The Demons Run rally shook the ground with the roar of 5,000 motorcycles. Emma moved through the crowd wearing jeans and leather, looking like a biker's old lady. Breathe, Colt murmured, placing a hand on her shoulder. I can feel them watching. Southeast corner, Ghost said through her earpiece. Scorpion Neck just arrived. The rally was loud and wild, perfect hiding place for predators. In 5 minutes, I'm stepping away, Colt said softly. You'll be alone for 10 minutes. Colt, she whispered suddenly. Will I ever be normal again? His expression softened. There's no going back, Emma. But that doesn't mean there's no going forward. Ghost's voice crackled again. Movement. Scorpion Neck heading toward the maintenance area. Colt squeezed her shoulder. It's time. He kissed her forehead dramatically. I'll be right back, darling. Then he disappeared into the crowd. Emma moved toward the quieter maintenance area, following the plan. I'm moving to position, she whispered. Copy? Ghost answered. We have eyes on all 3 targets. The area was almost empty. Emma stood near a row of parked Harleys. Nice bikes, aren't they? A voice said. She turned. Scorpion Neck was walking toward her. Up close, she saw prison tattoos and scarred knuckles. Yes, she said. Beautiful machines. Beautiful, he repeated, stepping closer. Funny, considering you're about to come with me, so we can talk about your biker boyfriend. Behind him, the young man appeared, off to the side. Graybeard blocked her escape. I don't think so, Emma said. I don't think you have a choice. Scorpion Neck reached into his jacket, but suddenly froze. His eyes widened in fear, because all around them, hidden in the shadows, men wearing Iron Wolves colors stepped out with weapons raised. Colt's voice sliced through the air. Gentlemen, I believe you wanted to have a conversation. 2 weeks after Demons Run, Emma sat in the same diner where everything had started. But now, everything was different. The crossroads had been fully renovated. Jake still worked the grill, but there were always Iron Wolves members around now. You're thinking too hard, Colt said from across the booth. Emma looked up. Just wondering what happened to them. Does it matter, he asked. I suppose not. They told us everything before they departed. Rival club from Nevada. They wanted our territory. They chose wrong. He reached into his jacket and placed a small box on the table. Inside was a silver Iron Wolves medallion. What does this mean? She asked. It means you're family now, not by blood, but by choice. He leaned back. Protection, money, opportunities. But also loyalty, expectations, and silence. Emma held the medallion. And if I ever want to leave? Colt laughed softly. You stopped being a civilian when you whispered. Don't talk. There's no undoing that, he gestured around the diner. But why would you want to leave? You have respect now. Safety. Purpose. Emma looked around with new eyes. The diner felt safer. Jake smiled more. And she felt visible. The waitressing job is yours, Colt continued. But you'll have other duties too. Sometimes I'll need you to listen, to watch, to be my eyes where my guys would stand out. Emma touched the medallion, thinking of her old life small apartment. Constant fear, feeling invisible. Now she was protected, respected, important, dangerous. To good instincts, Colt said suddenly, raising his coffee cup. Emma's heart stopped for a second. Then she understood he wasn't repeating the dangerous phrase. He was honoring their journey. She raised her cup. To good instincts. They drank together in the diner where she saved his life and lost her old one, a bond formed that would shape whatever came next. Outside, the highway hummed with normal traffic. Inside, a waitress, who was no longer just a waitress, sat with a man who led an army, planning a future that would be anything but normal. Emma had learned the truest rule. Once you were family forever. Promise or threat, she accepted it as both. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Bike Diaries. We bring stories that show that heroism comes in all forms. Courage is not about size or age. And sometimes the quietest voices carry the strongest messages. Tell us in the comments, have you ever noticed something important that others missed? Your story might inspire someone else. Thank you for watching. And remember, trust your instincts. Speak up when something feels wrong, and never underestimate the power of paying attention.